I know this might go against everything you've been told, but a lot of the cleaning and organizing habits we swear by actually make things worse. For years, I believed that buying more bins, organizing every inch of my home, and constantly rearranging my stuff would somehow make my house feel under control. But honestly, all it did was add more clutter and stress. And it wasn't just my space, it was my peace of mind too. Today I'm sharing 10 common habits that many of us think help with tidying up. But in reality, they only create more mess. These are the small things we do thinking we're making progress, but in fact they just make our spaces feel more chaotic. I've tried all of them over the years, and believe me, these solutions are anything but effective. But don't worry, I'll show you exactly what you should do instead to make a real difference in your home. And the first one, stop buying more storage bins because they might just be adding to the problem. Let's start with the first habit we often get wrong, buying more bins, boxes, and containers, thinking that will magically solve our clutter problems. It's something we've all done right. We buy cute, trendy storage solutions, hoping they'll help keep everything organized. But the reality is, those bins often just add to the clutter. Instead of getting rid of what we don't need, we just end up hiding more stuff in the bins. Here's the thing, more storage doesn't solve the real issue. It just creates more space to store stuff you don't really need. So before you go buying another container, take a step back and ask yourself, do I really need this thing? If the answer is no, it's time to let it go. Start by decluttering before you think about organizing. A quick personal story, I used to buy bins for everything in my bathroom. I thought they would solve the chaos, but instead, they just became catch-alls for things I wasn't even using. Now I focus on reducing the amount of stuff I have, and my space stays organized without the extra bins. The key takeaway: stop buying bins. Clear out the unnecessary items first, and you'll find organizing becomes much easier. This is just the beginning. If you're already seeing how this could help, then you definitely won't want to miss the next habit, where we dive into something we all do without realizing it. But once you stop, your space will feel so much lighter. It's amazing how something as simple as letting go of a few things can make a world of difference. But what happens when we start moving things around instead of making real decisions? Well, let's talk about that next. Now let's move on to habit 2, shuffling things around. I'm sure you've done this before, moving things from one spot to another thinking you're cleaning up, but really you're just putting off making a decision. It's so easy to fall into this habit. You move things from the kitchen counter to the dining table, from the dining table to a shelf, then from the shelf to the garage. And somehow the clutter is still there. Instead of deciding what to get rid of, we just shuffle things around, hoping they'll eventually look better or feel more organized. But here's the truth, it doesn't work. It just adds to the feeling of overwhelm because you're not really dealing with the problem, you're just creating more mess in different places. The solution: create a let it go zone. Set up a specific spot, maybe a basket or a bin, where you can drop things you no longer need. Then make it a habit to decide what to do with those items right away. If you don't need it, let it go. If you need it later, trust you'll be able to find it when the time comes. Real life example, I used to put off sorting through papers by simply piling them on my desk. When people came over, I'd just shove them into a drawer. But once I set up a let it go bin for my papers, I started making real progress. Now I go through it once a week, and my desk stays clear. The key here is to act on things immediately instead of moving them around. You'll feel much lighter and more in control. Shuffling things around might seem like progress, but it's really just a delay tactic. Now let's talk about another habit we tend to fall into, leaving piles for later. Let's dive into habit 3, leaving piles for later. This one might feel familiar. You make a pile of things you're not sure about or can't decide on, and tell yourself you'll deal with it later. But that later never seems to come. It's easy to think that leaving things in a pile is harmless. But when you don't make a decision about an item, It's like you're holding on to that mental clutter too. Instead of dealing with it right away, you're prolonging the stress and carrying that weight around. The fix. Give every undecided item a deadline. Set a timer for 7 days and commit to making a decision by then. If you haven't decided whether to keep it or not, after that time, it's a clear sign that it's probably not worth holding on to. Real-life example, I used to keep a to-decide pile of clothes on my bedroom chair. Every time I passed it, I'd feel that little wave of stress thinking I'll deal with it soon. Then I started setting a deadline, 7 days. If I hadn't worn something in that time, I got rid of it. The freedom from not having that pile sitting there was incredible. Making decisions on the spot, even when it's uncomfortable, clears up more than just space. It frees your mind, too. Now, this habit of leaving things for later can be a hard one to break, but once you start making quick decisions, everything starts flowing. Let's move on to habit 4, overplanning. Next, we're going to tackle a habit that many of us fall into: overplanning without action. You've probably spent hours planning how to declutter your home, creating lists, watching videos, saving pins, and organizing your thoughts. But when it comes time to actually do the work, you're left feeling overwhelmed and don't know where to start. The thing is, all that planning can leave you feeling paralyzed. You convince yourself that you need the perfect strategy, the right bins, the perfect time. But guess what? None of that matters if it doesn't lead to action. In the end, it just keeps you stuck. The solution. Start by setting a timer for just 5 minutes. That's it. Choose a small task like clearing a drawer or wiping down a shelf and commit to doing it for just 5 minutes. This small step helps you break the cycle of overthinking and get started. And once you've started, you'll find it easier to keep going. Real-life example, I used to spend way too much time planning my closet, decluttering, stressing over how big the project was. Then I set a 5-minute timer and tackled just one shelf. It was less overwhelming, and I made so much progress without the pressure of doing it all at once. The key is to take action even if it's messy. You'll start seeing progress, and that feels so much better than staying stuck in the planning stage. Procrastinating because of a long to-do list can be draining, but once you break that cycle with a small step, everything starts to feel easier. Now let's move on to habit 5, which is another sneaky habit that keeps us holding on to things just in case. Let's discuss habit 5, saving things for special occasions. How often do we tell ourselves, I'll save this for a special day, whether it's a gorgeous dress, a beautiful candle, or some fancy perfume? I've definitely been guilty of this. I'd buy these lovely things and tell myself I'd wait for the perfect moment to use them. But the truth is, that perfect moment rarely comes, and all those beautiful things just sit there forgotten and unused. The reality is, today is the special occasion. You don't have to wait for a big event to enjoy what you already have. You deserve to enjoy the things you love right now. The solution. Don't save the good stuff. Use it. Light the beautiful candle while you're working. Wear that stunning dress, even if you're just running errands, or spritz that expensive perfume just because you feel like it. It's about creating joy in the present, not waiting for a perfect day. Real-life example, I had a beautiful dress in my closet that I saved for a special event. I never wore it. Then one day, I decided to wear it just because I wanted to feel good. And you know what? It felt amazing. I stopped waiting for some grand occasion and started making everyday moments special. By using the things that make you feel good today, you're creating a life that feels rich, not with stuff, but with the joy of living in the moment. Holding on to things for later can leave us feeling disconnected from the joy those items were meant to bring. Now that we've tackled that, let's move on to habit 6, where we hold on to things out of guilt. Moving on to habit 6. Guilt clutter, holding on to things because you feel guilty. We've all experienced this, right? Maybe it's a gift from someone special or an item that has sentimental value. You feel guilty about letting it go, as though getting rid of it would be disrespectful, or make you forget the memory attached to it. But the truth is, holding on to these things out of guilt only keeps your space and your mind cluttered. It's easy to convince yourself that keeping something is honoring the past, or the person who gave it to you. But in reality, keeping things just because you feel guilty isn't serving you. It's holding you back from creating a space that truly reflects who you are today. The solution. Separate the object from the emotion. Just because something holds sentimental value doesn't mean it needs to stay in your home forever. Keep what genuinely adds joy or meaning to your life now, and let go of what no longer serves you. Real-life example: I had an old photo frame that my grandmother gave me years ago. I didn't like it, it didn't match my style, and it sat in a box for years. But I felt guilty about donating it. One day I realized that I was holding on to it out of obligation, not love. I let it go, and I felt a huge sense of relief afterward. Letting go of guilt clutter doesn't mean you're forgetting or disrespecting the past. It means you're choosing to honor the present, and that's the most important thing. Guilt clutter can be tough, but once you break free from it, you'll feel lighter in your space and in your heart. Now let's dive into habit 7, where we often overlook our emotional and spiritual clutter. Address habit 7. Emotional and spiritual clutter. It's not just about the physical stuff, but the mental and emotional baggage we hold on to. It's so easy to focus on clearing the physical clutter around us. But what about the emotional weight we carry every day? Maybe your home looks tidy, but you still feel anxious, disconnected, or just off. That's often a sign that the emotional clutter is still there. Old regrets, unresolved feelings, or even stress from life that's lingering in your space. This kind of clutter doesn't just live in your mind, it shows up in your environment. When we hold on to old emotions or unprocessed feelings, it creates a block in our energy, making the space feel heavier even if it's physically organized. The solution. Take intentional time to reconnect with yourself. This could be through journaling, meditating, or just sitting in silence for a few minutes each day. Letting go of emotional clutter allows you to move forward and create space for peace, growth, and joy. Real-life example: I used to hold onto old cards, photos, and gifts from past relationships. They didn't bring me joy anymore. They were just reminders of the past. I decided to sort through them, keep only what truly felt aligned with who I am now, and let go of the rest. It wasn't easy, but the emotional relief was worth it. My space felt lighter, and so did my heart. Clearing out emotional and spiritual clutter isn't just about getting rid of things. It's about making room for a more peaceful, fulfilled life. When you release what's no longer serving you, you're making space for something better. By letting go of emotional clutter, you'll feel lighter and more at peace in your space and mind. Now let's look at habit 8. Let's take a look at habit 8, only cleaning when it's dirty. Many of us tend to clean only when things are visibly messy, like when the kitchen counter is covered in crumbs or the bathroom mirror has spots all over it. While it's normal to clean when we see the mess, the truth is waiting until things get dirty can actually make the cleaning process much harder and more overwhelming. When you only clean when things are dirty, it's easy for clutter to pile up and for your home to feel chaotic. Instead of keeping your space consistently tidy, you're constantly playing catch-up. Cleaning when it's already dirty is like trying to fix something when it's already broken. It requires more time, more effort, and more stress. The solution. Instead of waiting for things to get out of hand, make it a habit to clean regularly, just a few minutes every day. Wipe down surfaces, pick up things as you go, and take 10 minutes to tidy up before bed. This small daily effort prevents clutter from building up and keeps your space feeling calm and under control. Real-life example: I used to wait until my kitchen was a complete mess before cleaning. It felt overwhelming, and I'd put it off until I couldn't take it anymore. Here we are with habit 9, recluttering. Creating more mess. After spending time decluttering and organizing your space, you may feel lighter and more satisfied. But here's the thing. You might also feel an unconscious urge to fill up that empty space with more stuff. This is where the cycle of recluttering begins, and it's one of the reasons why decluttering efforts don't always stick. When we clear out clutter, we often feel a temporary sense of emptiness. Instead of embracing that clean, open space, we sometimes feel the need to fill it up again. This can lead to buying more things, accumulating unnecessary items, and recreating the very mess we just worked so hard to eliminate. The solution. Before making any new purchases, ask yourself, do I really need this, or am I just trying to fill an emotional void? Recognize that the empty space you create after decluttering isn't a problem. It's a sign of peace. Embrace it. Real-life example. After I decluttered my living room, I found... And now for the final habit. Not simplifying your workspace. How many of us overlook our workspaces when it comes to decluttering, whether it's your desk, your home office, or even just a corner where you work? Not paying attention to these spaces can seriously affect your focus and productivity. If your workspace is cluttered, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and distracted, and it becomes hard to concentrate or get anything done. The problem is, when your work area is filled with papers, random items, or unnecessary gadgets, you're carrying extra mental load that distracts you from doing your best work. Having a cluttered work environment creates stress and makes even the smallest tasks feel bigger than they really are. The solution: simplify your workspace to reduce distractions. Start by clearing your desk at the end of each day. Wipe down the surface, sort through papers, and put away any items that aren't essential for your next day of work. This small habit can make all the difference. When you sit down to work the next morning, you'll feel more organized and ready. Those were the 10 habits that made me realize they didn't actually help with decluttering, and in fact, they often made things worse. These habits seemed like they would make life easier, but in reality, they just created more mess. I had no idea how many decluttering solutions I had been using that only added to the chaos. Now I know that changing just a few small habits can make a big difference in creating a space that truly feels peaceful. If you want to reduce the stress of cleaning and maintain a clutter-free space without feeling overwhelmed, try starting with these simple changes. And if you found this video helpful, don't miss the next one, where I'll be sharing 10 declutter habits that truly transformed my home. Trust me, you won't want to miss it, because these habits will help you create a living space that is not just organized but also calming and productive. If you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe, because you deserve a home that feels lighter and easier to live in every day.